really does.
The light?
What do you?
Light matters.
What is that? What is the light?
Just seeing the light is in the issues that you had in the past. It's like, oh wait, they're gone. I don't have those issues anymore. I actually overcame them on my own.
They don't just go away. You have to work at them.
You're
So
almost
I
not
completely,
equals.
I completely get what you're saying, and
Wait,
like
not
we're
equals. What do you mean?
Well, like,
like-
she just said.
like in the sense.
He was giving her advice. What's wrong with that?
well,
I feel like you're misconstruing what she's
That's what-
saying. It's just.
I heard everything she just said.
Yeah, he has more life experience. That's all.
Isn't that a good thing?
just I was just, for example, like a conversation that I had with him was I was preparing a scene for class, and there was like a trigger warning in it that I wasn't particularly comfortable with, and because we were picking the scenes,
Okay, go ahead.
well, I'm
Alright.
not gonna say what the trigger is.
That's no, that's fine. Just
Yeah, but
just trigger warnings. Okay.
and the way that she's portraying it is just making me uncomfortable. And the way we were and like the way he was talking to me, he was like, well, in the industry, you're not going to be able to change your scene. So if you already picked it, you should just do it because in the industry, they're not going to let you change it.
Men
You're
after
younger than me.
30, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
I noticed men after 30, they really start figuring themselves out, and they kind of just age like fine
That's
wine
true.
after
Yeah.
that.
That is
So it's
true.
kind of like, oh, they're more established. It's very attractive when they get to that point.
Let's go back to this power dynamic thing, though. What I don't really get what that means. And what
Okay.
Hold on, wouldn't that just, if she says that men age like fine wine after 30, wouldn't that already just explain as to why younger women find older men attractive? Right? Yeah. And what's up, y'all? Welcome to Exhausted Truth, where I am your host, and I'm very exhausted. I'm always having to tell the goddamn truth, but hey, someone's got to do it. All right, y'all. Hey, y'all tell me, age gaps. Are they gross? Are they just a thing that happens? How do y'all feel about them? Because the women in this video are going to try and convince you that they're predatory and they're disgusting and they're and get this, they're going to try and convince everybody that they're one-sided. Now, I'm not saying every woman at this panel, and again, I have not seen the whole video, but I've seen enough to know that let me get this set up real quick. Enough to know that the women at this panel really, or at least some women at this panel really think that it's one-sided, that the man is at fault, right? There's something wrong with the man who's trying to date younger women, but there's nothing wrong with the younger woman out here putting herself in positions to be picked up by older men. Let's get into it.
She said you disagree with the red pill movement,
Yeah.
encouraging established men to date much younger women in their 20s.
Yes.
What's the age gap you have an issue with?
Well, here's the age gap. They're at totally different stages of their lives. So, men, when they reach an established point of their life, they really worked hard to get there. They really had to build from the ground up. So if we're talking about dating women, in their 20s who have nothing to lose, they don't even probably know who they are or care about the guy enough to value him she can.
I don't mean to stop. I know we just started. I get it. One, this woman is trying to convince people that men shouldn't do it because it's not good for him, like, his assets and his all that financially and responsible. That's not really why she has a problem. She has a problem with it because she has a fucking problem with it, right? And maybe because she's not able to do the same with young men. I don't really know. But the fact is, she has an issue with it, and she's trying to disguise her issue as something else that's like, oh, no, it's for the man. No, it's not. You don't give a fuck about that. Second of all, I think I'm gonna bring up some comments up here on the screen somewhere from this video. Bruh, some of those comments are fucking brutal.
It's actually a liability to his well-being to bring such a young person into his life romantically. And imagine even procreating by that point. She has more of an incentive to take everything from him. So I think with myself, for example, in my 20s, I didn't really know who I was. That's why my relationships at the time didn't work out, because I was figuring myself out. But I couldn't imagine getting married and bringing kids into the situation. I was a liability at the time. So although in my 20s I was more, let's just say, because it's true, you're more attractive, more physically fit in your 20s. So physically I had more of an appeal to a guy, but emotionally I was not able to give him what he wants and to fulfill his needs. In my 30s, I'm not as attractive as I was in my 20s, but my mind's in a different place. Completely different place.
What needs do men have that you can fulfill in your 30s but not
Tradition.
your 20s?
Tradition is a very simple blanket term, but
So you were not, I thought you said you were always
I
traditional.
was I would say,
a blanket
but
term, all right.
emotionally speaking, I had issues, you know, so I wasn't able to fulfill the duties of tradition. As opposed to now,
What do you
I
mean?
don't have
What-
those issues.
What issues did you have?
I just had like depression. I had identity situation. I didn't know what my purpose was. All these different things. But little did I know my purpose is very simple. You know, in my mind, what my purpose would be and what I want is to be married and have kids because that's my legacy. That's all that matters. You know, so that's what I look to fulfill, and I'm ready to fulfill that, and to be an asset, not a liability.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
But assuming, like, if it is the case that for some men,
Yeah.
they have this preference for dating younger women,
Yeah.
what is your objection there? Because you say you disagree with that.
They
I
can
guess?
whatever they prefer. They can
Oh,
fulfill that
okay.
on their own. It's not necessarily against what's an innate preference, but just something for them to think about. It could be a liability for their well-being. That's my purpose. That's what I'm saying. But you can't stop them to do what they want to do.
So you're saying a young woman can be
A
more
liability.
of a
Oh,
liability
yeah.
than an
Oh yeah.
older woman?
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. It's the mindset makes a difference. My mind in my 20s is nowhere compared to now.
Okay.
I'm able to, I understand my place and I want to fulfill that. But in my 20s, I could not actually articulate that. So
Sure.
at the time, I could take somebody for everything they have. I'm not saying I would do that personally, but it's possible, you know.
But you could still take somebody for everything they have.
It's true. It's true.
Right.
But I just think, again, it's just more of a sketchy situation.
I do find it ironic that when she was young, she probably wasn't thinking that way. And it wasn't until she got older that she realized how easy it would be for her to take a man for everything he has. Right? It's the fact that she's older and knows how to take a man for what he has. Whereas a younger woman, you know, she doesn't have that, you know, experience.
Situation with younger
She
women.
knows.
And also biologically, our prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed till we're
Oh, here
like
comes
26, 27.
Yeah.
Scientist,
That
bitch.
controls your
Oh, yeah.
decision-making impulses. So I see where you're coming
Oh
from.
yeah, and my issues at the time, I would never guess I'd actually get out of it, but I'm so far out of it and I got the light that I'm like, oh wait, everything's okay.
The light matters.
The light really matters. It really does.
The light?
What do
The
you?
light matters.
What is that? What is the light?
Just seeing the light is in the issues that you had in the past. It's like, oh wait, they're gone. I don't have those issues anymore. I actually overcame them on my own
They don't just go away. You have to work at them.
and took accountability. So
What do
Hopefully
you think
she
about
took
the notion
she
that
worked on them, not
women-
just I
younger
just don't
women
have
are
them
more
anymore.
mature than older men. So like my partner and I'm 25, he's 32. When I met, I was 18, he was 25. I felt like emotionally and maturity wise, we were at the same, not the same, but like a little bit closer in level than
Yeah.
like, you know.
you don't have a big age gap. It's not that big. I'm talking like a guy in his 40s, 50s dating a 20-year-old.
20-year-old,
That's a
yeah.
really big age gap and
Yeah.
really a different life cycle.
I agree with
know.
you though. I think
Yeah.
that women tend to mature quicker than men, just to generalize. My mom always said that. She always told me to kind of go for older guys because guys take forever to mature, it feels like, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that there obviously is a power dynamic
Tilt it back
when
down.
you are dating someone who is older than you, especially as a woman.
What? There's a power dynamic? What do you mean?
I think that, well, you know, you're an 18-year-old girl compared to a 25-year-old guy. His brain's almost fully developed. You're still figuring life out. He has like 7 years of life experience on you. I think that there can be a power dynamic.
Yeah, but
You
I don't know why
disagree?
we just. But you agree some people mature at different
Yeah, I
rates?
totally
even if they're
do.
older?
I'm just saying it's something to acknowledge.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything inherently
I
wrong with
see.
it.
Okay.
Because I do think that, I mean, you guys are engaged, clearly it worked out, you know what I mean? And I also,
But-
my most recent ex was like 5 years older than me. I think that there's levels of maturity.
And also, I also think like what women want nowadays, like the stability, the financial freedom, is you're gonna find that in an older man.
Oh, for sure.
I'm not dating someone that's the same age as me because we just don't. It's just financially, there's just no way.
Yeah, you're
So-
in
Yeah.
different stages of life.
Yeah.
You know.
I noticed
husband's 2
men
years
after
younger than me.
30. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
I noticed men after 30, they really start figuring themselves out and they kind of just age like
That's
fine wine
true.
after
Yeah.
that.
That is
So it's
true.
kind of like, oh, they're more established. It's very attractive when they get to that point.
Let's go back to this power dynamic thing, though. What I don't really get what that means. And what
Okay.
Hold on, wouldn't that just, if she says that men age like fine wine after 30, wouldn't that already just explain as to why younger women find older men attractive? Right? Yeah. And again, because she's trying to disguise her issue with it as it being in the benefit or the, or the at the detriment to the man. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. I think she thinks it's gross and she has a problem with it and she probably thinks it's predatory. And I'm not sure if this panel will address that, but that's usually where these women go with it, is that it's predatory and it's manipulative. And they never want to address the fact that, the younger woman is hanging out in places where older men are picking up chicks.
the implication is there?
Like-
are we just supposed to acknowledge that there is a power dynamic,
I
but
think-
go ahead and date the person anyway?
No, I think it's something to just be mindful of.
Yeah, what does that mean, though?
Yeah, I think what I mean, let's say I'm an 18-year-old girl and my boyfriend at the time is 25. I think that there may just be a controlling element in dating somebody who
Told you.
is a little bit more established in career in their life.
don't agree
That's
with
something
that.
to be mindful of. That's all. Just
think-
look for the red flags. Don't wear rose-colored glasses. That's all that I mean.
That's true. And
You're not really like that.
Yeah.
It's just something to
You know?
think about.
Something to
I'm
think
not
about. I
trying to
understand.
generalize
Yeah,
at
yeah, yeah,
all.
yeah.
It's just, something I would consider. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, as somebody who was 18 and dated a 25-year-old, I'm just going to input real quick. I completely get what everybody at this table is saying. I get what you're saying. And like when I was 18 and I was dating a certain 25-year-old, like sometimes it would feel more of like a mentor student type thing instead of a relationship, not because like he was trying to purposely put me down or anything, but because he had knowledge that like I just hadn't experienced yet. Sometimes when we would talk about like my issues or my problems, he would more come to it of a standpoint of this is what you need to do and I know better because I'm older.
Yeah, you're
so
almost
I
not
completely
equals.
I completely get what you're saying and
Wait,
like
not
we're
equals. What do you mean?
Well,
like-
like she just said.
like in the sense
He was giving her advice. What's wrong with that?
well
I feel like you're misconstruing what she's
That's what-
saying. It's just
I heard everything she just said.
Yeah, he has more life experience. That's all.
Isn't that a good thing?
just I was just
That's
I was
actually-
just saying
that's
I
actually
was
a
just
good
saying
power
that
dynamic.
sometimes like when not saying I don't want advice from my partner,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a fine line between getting advice and telling me what to do.
And she was saying it was a
sometimes
mentorship role.
sometimes when we would talk about stuff or like he would give me advice on things, it would feel more of a mentor mentee type thing because
Versus what?
versus we're in a relationship boyfriend girlfriend like type thing, because it didn't feel like he was giving me advice. It felt like he was telling me what to do because he had these life experiences.
But he's
Did
still
you
25.
did you have the conversation of like, hey, when you say it this way, when we have these conversations, this is how it makes me feel? and then-
we did have that conversation multiple times, and he just like wasn't
Then
getting
that's
Wait,
a
wait.
communication.
What's the conversation you had?
like for example, like a conversation that I had with him was I was preparing a scene for class, and there was like a trigger warning in it that I wasn't particularly comfortable with, and because we were picking the scenes,
Okay, go ahead.
well, I'm not gonna say what the trigger is.
That's no, that's fine. Just
Yeah, but
just trigger warnings. Okay.
but he like but like I told him, I was like, I feel like since we haven't turned in the scene yet, I'm gonna talk to my partner about switching the scene because I'm extremely uncomfortable with this role, and the way that she's portraying it is just making me uncomfortable. And the way the way he was talking to me, he was like, well, in the industry you're not gonna be able to change your scene, so if you already picked it, you should just do it because in the industry, like because in the industry they're not going to let you change it. And all I was trying to explain to him was, hey, we haven't turned in the scene yet. It's not like it's set in stone that I have to do it. We have 3 more days to pick a
Hey. He ain't lying though. Like, he's not lying. You could tell him you're uncomfortable, but usually, probably in the industry and in Hollywood, hey, if you don't like it, then get the fuck out and we'll find someone else who will. And then you're going to be labeled as difficult, and then they're not going to deal with your ass no more. I'm not saying she shouldn't speak up for herself. I'm just saying that, you know, if you got trigger warnings and all this shit that fuck you up, maybe this is not the industry for you. But, you know, she wasn't trying to hear that.
scene. If I can pick a scene before then, I'm going to choose a different scene. And he was just like, I just think it's stupid that you're not listening to me, because if you already chose the scene with your partner, I don't think your partner's going to want to change it. And what are you going to do if your partner doesn't want to change it? You're still going to have to do it. So you should just do it now. And you should just learn how to deal with it, because in the real world, you're not going to be able to do that.
I don't know if that's an age thing as more as just his personality.
Yeah.
Like,
Because that'd be more just
but do you
communication
see what I
style.
mean? And like, it felt like he was telling me what to
Oh, yeah.
do, and
Yeah.
more of like he wasn't giving me advice at that point.
Yeah.
And I have a question for you, just because
Yes.
I also have been like in a like little age gap relationship. I was 20, partner was 25.
Yep.
I experienced some people who didn't even bat their eyelashes at that, but I also did experience some people who they thought, what? Like, it's a crazy age gap. So I am just asking you, did you experience any of that in your
How old would this guy have had to have looked for somebody to go, what? She's 20 and he's 25. Like, they would look pretty similar in age, unless he looks like he's fucking 40. Like,
personal life when you got with your
Speak straight into the
when
mic,
you got
please.
with your partner? Sorry, I'm trying to make eye contact with
You
her.
don't need to.
I understand.
I at first, yeah, especially when I brought him home to my parents, they're like, "Oh, he's a little older," but I think I've kind of set myself up to like want an older partner in
Yes,
general.
totally.
So I kind of already had the mindset going into that. Like, yeah, like you said, like it could be a little bit of a power dynamic, just because he's a little older, a little more established, and I'm not. I'm just starting my life like that. I get you on that one.
Yeah. That's all I was trying
You know,
to
I was thinking
communicate.
about this the other day, this power dynamic thing, and how older guys supposedly have more power in a relationship because of like material, either material or they're more mature. But I was thinking, like, I think there's this unspoken power dynamic that exists between somebody who does have power and then somebody who doesn't. So for example, and this would be somebody who has less to lose. So like, let's say there's somebody really famous dating a nobody. We would say, okay, there's a power dynamic that exists here. This person's really rich, they have status, influence, whatever, and they're dating a nobody. That's a power dynamic. But I was actually thinking the power dynamic exists in the other way, because here's this person who has a reputation for themselves, and if this other person comes out and tries to destroy this other person's reputation, well, reputationally, that can't really go both ways.
Right.
Because you don't have a reputation to ruin. But many women ruin famous men's reputations all the time. Sometimes justified, oftentimes just, he broke up with me, I'm upset, let me just ruin this dude's reputation or put stuff out there, you know, whatever. And it's difficult when you're the person in a relationship who does have something to lose. It's usually never beneficial for you. It depends on the, you know, accusation or whatever. Almost never beneficial for you to respond to it, because you're giving oxygen to it, when otherwise if you ignore it, you hope it just doesn't give it any oxygen, you just move on. But oftentimes, yeah, I think a lot of the times there's a reversal, a flip, an inverse of the power dynamic, where the person who has less to lose can go scorched earth and completely just fuck a person over. And I guess one example I could think of this is, like, let's say somebody has nothing going for themselves in their life. Like they could just, I don't know, they could cause drama. They could like make things public.
All right, that's the video. Hey, look, you know, hold on. You know what's funny in there is that if you take a look at those women, the women's faces, just before I just switched over and before it ended, when he was talking about how the one who has less could actually be more of a detriment and have more of a power play than the one who's got shit, right? You know, once they're locked in and assets and shit become shared, right? It was funny because if you look at those females' faces, they all looked confused, right? Even the ones who disagreed with each other on the age gap thing, all of them in unison looked confused, as if they had no idea what the fuck he was talking about. How is that possible? No way. What? They knew exactly what the fuck he was talking about, right? Because a lot of them have probably done that to men. So, but, you know, they want to keep acting as if the men they're dating are in positions of power over them, right? So when they go ahead and do the little shady shit that they do, it's punching up, not down, not straight across, right? Because they're less than. Little old me, how could I destroy what he's got going on? He's the big bad wolf. He's the possessive one, right? I had to get out of there. Anyway, it's starting to sound like I'm talking about something specific. I'm not. I'm just saying, right? This is how that comes across. They're confused, like they don't know what the fuck he was trying to talk about or what the fuck he was trying to say. They knew exactly what he was saying. All right, y'all. That's my time. And until next time, y'all. Peace out.